Croydon, where the Metropolitan Police have deployed London's first permanent static facial recognition cameras, which scan the faces of every single person walking down Croydon's main shopping street. These cameras are turning Croydon's main shopping street into a mass police lineup, checking the identity of everybody who walks past, comparing every single person against a massive police watch list. This kind of surveillance is unprecedented in the Western democratic world. It's used in China, it's used in Russia, it's not used in democracies in Europe or the US or Canada. Big Brother Watch is supporting a legal challenge by our director Silky Carlo and Sean Thompson, an anti-knife crime activist. Sean was wrongfully identified by the cameras in London Bridge and detained for a long period of time. We're now supporting and challenging the lawfulness of the Metropolitan Police's policies, whether they can use this technology. We want it off our streets. If, like us, you're really alarmed by the massive expansion of live facial recognition, you can find our in Croydon, where the Metropolitan Police are.
So yeah, it's not just digital ID, guys. I have been telling you what is really going on. This is so that they can control your entire life. Like, you can't even walk outside without them seeing you. And let's not get into how drones will be used for this as well. There will be nowhere you can escape. Okay, what did they say in the UK? If you guys know, I've played this clip before. And you know, it has fully rolled out, or it's rolling out in 17 countries right now. 17 countries are implementing it. And by 2026, it is law. Okay, listen to this.
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Today, I am.
You can't work. But it's more to it than that. Let me show you something. And for those who think, oh, it's not coming to the US, it's not coming to the US. It's already here. It's already law. It's already in the law that they can do this. Where did I put this? Hold on one second. So here it is. I'm going to read this to you, and I have some pretty shocking things to show you. So it says digital ID. This is the WEF's plan for you, straight from their website. Okay. And you may think we separate ourselves from the WEF. Well, I have something next. The goal is to bring about a situation where every aspect of daily life, healthcare, banking, food, travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out. This has already happened in China and actually a lot of Asian countries. 86 million people in Vietnam have lost their bank accounts because they refuse to comply with digital ID. Okay, so we are seeing this already, and there's other countries. In China, hundreds of thousands of people are basically, they have nothing. They're just out on the streets because they lost all of their social currency, meaning they can't function in society anymore. These are people who've had digital ID, but because they did not like what they were posting and things that they were doing, or they didn't meet certain requirements, these were just working, healthy people, not criminals or anything like that. And then when I show you what is being said here and done here in comparison, it's going to shock a lot of you. So let's continue. Once that situation is in place, the conditions of validity can be set to whatever they want. Didn't take the latest experimental mRNA vaccine? Digital ID invalid. Posted misinformation on social media? Digital ID invalid. Social credit score too low? Digital ID invalid. Exceeded your carbon allowance this month? Digital ID invalid. Voice criticism of your new technocratic overlords, digital ID invalid. If we allow our governments to succeed in rolling out digital ID, we will end up living in a giant open air digital prison from which it will be virtually impossible to ever escape. So I've told you guys that we are in the end times. This is it. When you compare what I told you about what's going on in Jerusalem, building of the third temple, just the laws that are being put in place, these things that are secretly working behind the scenes, the 2.5 trillion spent in just a couple of months for these, for Project Stargate, the huge AI data spaces, data centers that are going up all over the country. 2.5 trillion, something none of us asked for. We don't need that kind of power for anything right now, unless there will be 100% surveillance on every single American. This is going to be worldwide. There's no place that you're going to be able to go to escape. Let me just say this clearly. Every country is rolling this out, from third world countries to the US, the UK, Canada, all of that. Okay? So there's nowhere to hide. I told you, you're not going to be able to, fight against the government. They're doing that in the UK right now, but they're still going ahead with it. You can protest, resist, but this is the way they want the future. And we know why. Because eventually it's going to move into what? Full surveillance. So you're going to have to take the chip. Okay. And I told you it's because we're in the end times. But here it is. This is from their actual website. Let me see. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see. Oh, it's a little off on the camera here. Let me see. I don't know if it's going to mess it up either way. So we'll just rock with it. But I'll tell you what it says here. It's pretty much what he said. This is where they want every single sector of your life, including healthcare. You won't be able to get healthcare. You won't be able to go to the doctor. You won't be able to get health insurance. You won't be able to go to the hospital. Humanitarian response. Let's look at these. Healthcare for users to access insurance treatment, to monitor health devices, wearables to care providers to demonstrate their qualifications, financial services to open bank accounts and carry out online financial transactions, food and sustainability for farmers and consumers to verify, what does it say? I'm sorry, provenance of produce to enhance value and traceability in supply chains, travel and mobility to book trips to go through border control between countries or regions. Now, okay, this is applying to Europe. This is applying to the whole world, but understand, like, no travel? Can you go to another state even? You can't travel at all. You can't travel at all. Humanitarian response to access services to demonstrate qualifications to work with a foreign country. So I don't even know what that means, but are they talking about, like, if something happens, you're in a natural disaster, will FEMA not help you? I don't know. We know for sure to get welfare, SNAP, all that stuff people were upset about, probably your Social Security payment as an elderly person, you are going to have digital ID to pay taxes, to have your property taxes, all of that. People say, own your own land, own your own home. Well, guess what? There is a way, okay, that can be confiscated. And I don't say this to scare you guys. I am just giving you the information that's out here. I told you where my trust and belief is. I do believe this is ushering in the end times. I believe this is it for me as a Christian. I do believe Jesus is returning. There are several signs and wonders. Many people are speaking of this right now because we have never seen in the history, as long as we have known, okay, history. We know they lie about history completely. But as far as the history that we know of the world, we've never seen anything like this. And now they have the power and the technology to do it. Let's continue. E-commerce to shop or conduct business transactions and secure payments. Social platforms for social interactions to access third-party services that rely on social media logins. E-government for citizens to access and use services, file taxes, vote, collect benefits. I just told you that. I knew that into it, and it says it here. I did not read this whole thing before, but I it is what it is. I knew it. Okay. Telecommunications for users to own and use devices, meaning your cell phone, for service providers to monitor devices and data on the network. Jeez. Telecommunications to monitor devices and censor transmitting data and sensors transmitting data such as energy usage, air quality, and traffic congestion. What? I have something to show you guys. This is insanity. But they've said it. They've said it out loud. This is wild. This is wild. So the man behind the digital ID push is Larry Ellison. They're all pushing it. They're all pushing it. It's not just one person. No. The government wants this. I'm going to show you something in a second. You can just Google it. Are digital IDs coming to the US? Yes. Yes, it is. Maybe I'll Google it so you guys can see it and believe what I'm saying. But yes, they are. They're already trying to roll it out in several states. I brought you that clip about Utah. They're trying to make these fluff pieces to make it sound so wonderful. Life will be so great. You can have everything in one place. And it's free. The man behind the digital ID push is Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle, CBS, CNN, and soon TikTok. He wants data centralization and total surveillance. Citizens, actually, you know what? I want him to say it.
Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
So you're really, through the use of this, you're revolutionizing the way government works, right? The services it provides, the way that it operates. What about things like financial management, procurement? How can AI help a government operate more efficiently, more effectively, give a more direct and better service to the citizen?
Well, we have these modern financial systems. So, countries can, for example, the AI system will help you do that. But again, the secret is to get all of that data in one place. Without having the basic data, it cannot answer the question about your country. I think countries are very uncomfortable with keeping their data in other countries' data centers. So I think part of our essential infrastructure, just like airports obviously need to be in our country, or they're not terribly useful. Ports need to be in our country, and they're not terribly useful. Data centers, because of the privacy requirements around the data, need to be in our countries, or they're not terribly useful. They need to be in our countries, but they also need to be secure. And there are new technologies right now. This is the last year you will ever log on to an Oracle system with a password. Next, by the middle of this year, I'm quite certain you are Tony Blair. So how do I know? Well, I look at you, I hear your voice, I listen to the kind of questions you ask. I'm pretty sure you're not synthetically created in having this conversation. The security system, we have biometric logins. The computer recognizes you. It recognizes your voice. It might ask you to put your index finger on the return key. And we're absolutely certain it's you. There's no reason to enter a password. In fact, passwords are too easily stolen. The data centers and data is being taken hostage all over the world. The ransomware business is a very, very good business. It's getting bigger and better every year. We tend not to talk about it because the American FBI has a simple advice to someone whose data has been ransomed. Just pay them because there's nothing we can do about it. But there is something we can do about it, not after the data is stolen, but before the data is stolen. We can make sure that we're using the latest security technology, and it is going to be biometrics assisted by AI to make sure that you are in fact Tony Blair, and I'm sure you are. Now, I would love to have lived to be 150 years old.
Well, there's an amazing opportunity to reimagine the state, the way that government functions, and the service that it can provide for its citizens.
What was that comment about living to 150 years old? I guess it skipped around. I don't know, but yes. What did he say? What did he say? Just Oracle, but understand Larry Ellison and his son, Larry Ellison owns all of entertainment at this point, like everything. But they're in lockstep with one another. Okay, so this will be the last year you will be logging into an Oracle product with your password. In fact, let me look up. Let me just see everything. What does Larry Ellison and his son? I'm writing this kind of dumb. Okay. Let me see if it lists all of the companies. Let me see. All of the companies. Oh, the companies Larry owns. We know TikTok. We know Oracle. We know this is interesting, guys. This is interesting. Let me see if I could put this on here. Okay, so he has significant stakes in Tesla, in a major role in Skydance, which his son owns Skydance, okay, which has been acquired by Paramount Global, which they own as well. It says he's involved in wanting to buy Warner Brothers. And he also owns an island, in Hawaii, numerous hotels and clubs. So Oracle, Tesla, Skydance, Paramount Global, Warner Brothers, TikTok. Okay, there's a lot more that he's invested in as well, but those are the top ones. And if you don't know, just Paramount Global alone. Now, of course, that's just stuff that you watch. This is entertainment, but understand the reach, understand the influence that this goes to. Now, look at this. Okay, so you guys said that, a lot of people say it's not coming to the US. I showed you the WEF and all of that. Listen to this.
Do you owe your conspiracy theory friend an Do you owe your conspiracy theory friend an apology? The government has finally admitted that they have a contract with the WEF, $105 million for a digital identity program. Oh, would you take a look at that? Oh, there it is right there. Okay. Do you owe your conspiracy?
But I can promise you that's just the WEF. That's just a low amount you're seeing now. I'm telling you, they are spending $2.5 trillion on this new AI. They're not spending it for no reason. For no reason. He said this. The AI needs to have all of the data. Every single thing. Every single thing. The AI needs this. What else is it for? What else is it for? We're talking about millions, billions of people in the world where their data has to be collected and kept. And not just, one little thing, but a lot of things, right? Plus they have to power it in order to, their surveillance, the cameras, all of that is coming, guys. All of it is coming. Now, some of you may be saying, well, they can't do digital ID because it's not law. Really? Really? It's not legal to do it? Digital ID is now the law in the United States, and it is being implemented as we speak. Did you know that? As a lawyer, the destruction of our privacy rights is making me sick. It is getting worse by the day, and people seem unaware of what's happening, that it's happening. I agree. That no one cares about this. Like, no one's paying attention. We're all distracted with left versus right, black versus white, like everything. Okay. And I am too. I'm not like putting anyone down, because we still need to pay attention to what's going on in our world. Right. But this is the single biggest issue that is going on, and it's not getting any air. It's not getting a lot of air. And I don't think people realize how serious this is. The implementation of digital ID in the US is not driven by a single law, but rather by updates to existing regulations, primarily based on the Patriot Act post 9/11. Trade our freedom for security mindset. The most relevant laws facilitate digital identification through state-issued mobile driver's licenses and set the foundational technical requirements. This thread gives an overview of the laws and regulations along with the relevant texts that provide and facilitate digital ID in the United States. See, and Bill Gates was saying everybody needs to be on have their digital biometric digital ID. I think it's moving faster than that, but everybody by 2028, or they're going to face being not able to function in society whatsoever. Food, water, you can't get electricity to your house, even if you own it. I don't know what they're going to do if you own your home and you can't pay taxes. Like, do you understand what they can do? All right, so let's read through this a little bit. Foundational federal law, the Real ID Act of 2005. A lot of people thought that was new. No, 2005. The law codified in 49 USC, I'm not going to read all the little statutes, established minimum security standards for state-issued driver's licenses and identification cards to be accepted for federal purposes, like boarding commercial flights. Although it governs physical IDs, it mandates for digital features and databases, laid the groundwork for modern digital ID. This law was updated with the Real ID Modernization Act, signed into law as part of a larger bill in 2020. All right. They're just getting some more into Real ID. This act sets the minimum information and features required on an acceptable ID. These include key digital components that pave the way for digital ID. The requirement is digital photo, and a common machine readable technology with minimum. All right, we're not going to get into all of that. The act also outlines minimum issuance standards for states requiring an infrastructure built on digital data retention. Keep in mind that the facial image capture is a form of biometric identification. Requirement relevant text. So it says employ technology to capture digital images and identify source documents so the images can be retained in electronic storage in a transferable format. And then facial image capture. Subject each person applying for a driver's license or identification card to mandatory facial image capture. Now, these are key federal regulations. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS regulation, which is the implementing rule for the Real ID Act, was specifically amended to address the acceptance of digital IDs. It formally creates the path for mobile driver's licenses to be used for federal purposes. You can actually have have a mobile driver's license now. You can actually have your driver's license in your wallet, in your Apple Wallet. I'm not sure about Samsung, but you can do that now. This section directly addresses how a digital ID can be accepted by federal agencies, moving beyond the requirement for a physical card. TSA may issue a temporary certification of waiver to a state that meets the requirements. State eligibility. A state may be eligible for a waiver only if, after considering all information provided by a state, is given the codes. TSA determines that the state is in full compliance with all applicable Real ID requirements. And 2, information provided by the state sufficiently demonstrates that the state's mDL provides the security, privacy, and interoperability necessary for acceptance by federal agencies. Okay, so Let's keep going. The above law facilitates digital ID, but it's worse. It has also been shared in a public-private partnership, kind of like the Fed, across the country. You see, the federal law mandating the sharing of Real ID data between states is Section 202 of the Real ID Act of 2005. The actual mechanism that facilitates this sharing is managed by a private nonprofit entity. Future sharing with the private sector for digital purposes is primarily governed by the Driver's Privacy Protection Act and new technical standards. The data sharing part of the law. How many? Oh gosh, guys, this goes on and okay. Got a little bit more and then but I want to give you this information so you can understand what's going on. I want you to be able to understand. Let's see where we are. Okay, we read that one. The data sharing part of the law. The requirement for states to share their motor vehicle data is found in Title II, Section 202 of the Real ID Act, provide electronic access to all other states to information contained in the motor vehicle database of the state. The primary congressionally mandated purpose of this requirement is to prevent one person from holding multiple Real ID compliant credentials by allowing a state to check an applicant's status in all other states, meaning they're going to be able to check it. Every state can check each other. The mechanism for sharing. The actual system implementing this electronic access is the state-to-state verification service, or S2S. S2S is a pointer system, meaning it doesn't store all the data centrally, but rather acts as a hub that points in one state system to another's to verify a record. The platform supporting S2S is called the State Pointer Exchange Services, which extends the platform previously used for commercial driver's licenses. Both S2S and SPEXS, that sounded, are developed, maintained, and operated by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrations, a private nonprofit organization established by state and provincial and Canada officials. Data shared. The data exchanged via S2S includes an individual's name, date of birth, driver's license number, and other data fields to confirm or deny the existence of a duplicate license. Remember, the AAMVA is a private nonprofit, meaning there is no public right to know a lot of what they are doing with our data. Okay? So I can go on and on. I think you guys are getting it. Okay? There's you're not going to be able to get past this. All right? And I told you about Utah. Utah looks to launch state-approved digital ID focused on privacy and security. What the Bible talks about when you hear safety and security, that is the end times. And everywhere we go, it's safety and security, safety and security. Now this is privacy and security, which is essentially peace and security, I believe it is. But privacy and security, any which way you look at this, guys, it's coming. I don't know when they're going to actually officially say it. I'm assuming it's going to be sometime next year because all these other countries are rolling it out now and requiring it. It is mandatory in all these other countries. Now, in the US, we feel differently about our freedom here. So I think they're going to start rolling it out in two ways. I think they're going to have it as an option. I think a lot of people who are not tapped in, a lot of young people, well, maybe young people, I don't know. Young people, I think a lot of older people are going to do. I think, parents, people who they're going to sell it as this safety, privacy. You saw that's kind of like the push they go towards to kind of get you to do it, not understanding the details of the law. We don't understand the details of the Patriot Act and what the consequences that we're facing now for that. Same thing, this was rolled out. These are laws that nobody's paying attention to or talking about right now. So they're able to get these things in and then they can just amend it. They can just amend or revise it, right? To include these other things once it's passed. And so I think that's one way where you're going to have a lot of people accepting this because they're going to buy into the campaign. They're going to buy into this mess. Now, and then also you're going to have all of the people who are getting government assistance, and we're talking about, they're going to get the military as well. To be in the military, you're going to have digital ID. In fact, I found a video of a soldier was talking about, oh, I got to use the chip in my hand. They were like, were talking about getting chips in their hand. I'm trying to investigate. Has this been a requirement in parts of the military? Has this been going on in the military already where they're getting the chips in the hand? I need to know if you guys know anything about it. I found a couple videos, but I don't want to speak on that without having more data to pull from. But that is interesting. But do you see how they were required for that? Then for you to get your benefits, we're talking about veterans to get their benefits. We're talking about getting Social Security, getting your disability. We're talking about getting unemployment. We're talking about Medicaid, Medicare. Anything that is run by the government, you're going to have to get that. Then you're going to see where banks, probably the first people that's going to require this are banks. Banks are going to want to verify your ID. They're going to want digital ID. They're going to roll that out. So you're going to start to see places where you have to have digital ID. I was logging into Acrobat earlier, Adobe, and it was like I had to sign something. It was telling me to create a digital ID, a digital signature with a digital ID so it knows it's me. They have been, like I showed you my keyboard, you have the biometrics. They rolled it out on all of our phones. It's here. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to be able to resist this. That's just not going to happen. You just can't. You cannot. They have built and designed this system so that no one on the face of the earth can escape it. And this is what concerns me as well, because this is why I feel like a lot right now, what's going on with politics is theater. When Steve Bannon was saying that we won't have to vote again, and Trump is going to get a third term. I've heard different people saying it. There is just something like people say he's just trolling or just joking, but they are rolling this out so fast, guys. They've even admitted like not only the real ID, but the AI, and simultaneously these things are being built. I showed you the video yesterday what Elon was saying about building digital God. We've told these stories that God created us, but we're the ones actually creating God with this AI. This is digital God, AI God. He was talking about at some point we're going to have to replace the skull on people so that all the wires and stuff can fit. Like I am telling you, it is. But I told you where my safety and security rest. I mean, we're living in the end times like never before have they been able to do this and roll this out on this scale. And it perfectly aligns with the word of God. It perfectly aligns with the Bible. So if you are not a believer in Jesus Christ, I am telling you now, you need to be, because what is coming, there is nothing you can do about it. You can resist. We can say, no, you're not going to vote. Okay. Do you think they care about our votes? Do you think they need our votes anymore? Do you? Do you think that that's going to move it? They just need to hold us off long enough so they can get this thing implemented. Just hold off people long enough. Let's focus on every little thing until we can get this implemented. This is the most important thing in the world to them. They would not be spending this money. They would not be spending this money if it was not. And being so bold in the things that they are saying. And then you line that up, like I told you, with prophecy being fulfilled in Israel. What is happening right now? They've never done this in 2,000 years. 2,000 years. And it's in the Bible, which says these are the prophecies, the final prophecies to happen before Jesus Christ returns. And guess what? They've happened. For the first time in our life, it's happened. On top of this, so you're telling me that's not coming together for the New World Order? I showed you the New World Order city in Kazakhstan. What are you going to do? I really want to know, guys. And like I told you, I am not telling you this to scare you. I am telling you this to prepare you, because if I don't tell you the truth, you will not be ready. You will not be ready. You'll be distracted and focusing on other things. And I know it's a lot. It's heavy. Today was heavy for me. Just all the stuff I found out, absorbing it. And then I see all the news is out here that just seems so performative now. And it just was weighing me down, because I don't know. It's just, I cannot believe that this is real. And there's a joy in my heart, obviously, because I believe the Lord is returning and I would be raptured with the Lord. And I told you it is the final seconds. And by seconds, I don't mean like a few, but what I mean is of the thousand years since Jesus, died on the cross, said he will return. Okay. Like in that timeline, we are in the final seconds. I don't know when the final hour is, but this timeline is tight. Digital ID is going to be required for everyone in less than 2 years. And we already know the mark of the beast, those who are to be with the Lord will be called up. Like I am going to be raptured, and I've proven pre-tribulation rapture already. You're going to have to go watch that video. That is the only way. I showed you the video on how they have now, the Solomon Accords, and I think it's the Solomon Faith Institute, which the Solomon Accords, which the peace deal in the Middle East that Trump put together, and they joined Kazakhstan, which has the city of Astana. This city that looks like, they have gold-plated towers, gold-plated skyscrapers. Like a lake that looks like a phoenix, and then this pyramid with this. If you didn't see that video, good God, okay? You need to see it. It's insane. It's insane. They have a Stargate there, sitting in the middle of the water with no problem. If you don't know what Project Stargate, not this AI Stargate, but the other one, but I believe they're connected. I think that's why they chose the name. They're using, and I also think they need the energy for these Stargates to open up these portals. They've talked about it. They've shown it. We're just the only ones skeptical because they've conditioned us to believe everything is a conspiracy theory or everything is just sci-fi and weirdo and tinfoil. And that's how they keep the truth silent. Also with our school books, I told you who, like we can get into the details, but understand what's not clocking to some people out here. Are you not seeing it all lining up? Are you not seeing all the pieces are finally in place and we're just distracted? And like I said, I understand I have to just take a mental break from it all because it's too much. And while it weighs me down, I'm not in fear because I already know where my hope and rest and joy lies with the Lord. But I just can't believe we're the final generation. And some people are going to think I'm crazy, and that's fine. I do believe it's too much for people to want to believe. I do believe for a lot of people, or it's just too scary, too sci-fi. But really that comes from a place of they don't know what they're going to do. If this happens, I see a lot of different reactions. Well, I'll fight. They'll never be able to do this to me. And I understand that. Or then other people say, Melanie, you've been drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. You're a conspiracy theorist now, and they're not going to come on. Then I see very few people defending AI and no, they're not going to And then I even see some Christians who are just saying things that are anti-biblical. It's not biblical. But I think a lot of people, we are so focused on this earth that our goals, our plans, our purpose-filled life, all these things, and we know we have not been living a life that is pleasing to the Lord, of one that glorifies God. And so we love this world too much. We love this world too much. Even if we have problems, we still love this world too much because too many of us have our heads here looking down and we are not looking up. They fooled us. I want to get into NASA on my other channel. I just got to figure out what things I could say and not, but I'm hoping I'm going to drop a video tonight that you're going to want to see because NASA, it's all actually, let's just say this is for entertainment purposes only. All right. This is just speculation. This is just theory. This is just me talking. But yeah, all of NASA. The theory is that all of NASA is fake. And when I say that, that may shock you. It may shock you to hear that. But I would not say that if I had not seen the things that I've seen. And then when I tie it back to the Word of God, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. I showed you the Statue of Liberty. You didn't know they were built by Masons with a little g. And our forefathers used to wear the masonry aprons and the masonry pins with little g's. But no, we were founded as a Christian nation. Okay. You cannot trust the government. And when I say that, I don't mean just what we're seeing now. I mean all of history. All of history. So guys, I know I sound like doom and gloom. Oh my gosh, but it is. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I want to keep bringing you truth that you're not going to see a lot of other places, and you want to stay informed. You want to tell your friends, their family, everybody that you can, because this is the thing that people need to pay attention to. But understand, there is no resistance to this. There isn't. People can try, but it's a global thing. They've already decided. So with that, I will see you guys on next. Oh, make sure you guys subscribe to my other channels below. I'm going to be putting some other things on those channels to talk about this deep stuff, deep state stuff, conspiracy theories, entertainment purposes only, that you're going to want to see. Things that are going to blow your mind. I know for me, it blew my mind, and I just couldn't believe it. It was like I disassociated or something, just finding out a lot of this stuff. Like I could not. I could not. But once it settles in, you're just like, makes sense. Yeah, I see it now. The pieces make sense. Now it all is tying together. Even when people were just like, Israel's in our government and this, that, and the other, you're not going to be able to do anything about that. You're not. I'm not even joining that, because there's no point. I'm telling you, it is what it is. And that's it. And I know it sounds scary, but I'm telling you, you cannot hope in a government or a man or a person or a party. Your hope has to come from one place, and that's Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. So with that, like I said, I've done this closing a couple minutes now. I will see you on the next one.